Yes, you can definitely learn Kotlin without learning Java first, but the real question is, should you? To answer that question, first we need to know how Kotlin relates to Java. So back in the 90s, Java was developed to be a platform-agnostic language, meaning that you could write the code, compile it into one executable, and then run it anywhere. Write once, run anywhere. The way that Java accomplished this was through Java bytecode. Java bytecode is kind of an intermediary form of code between what we write as developers and what the machine actually understands in machine code. So what happens with Java is that the code is compiled into Java bytecode, which is executed on the Java virtual machine. The Java virtual machine is something that's installed on computers all across the world. There are 3 billion devices, famously, that run Java. And this is what led to Java's success. And Kotlin is interesting because what it does is it also runs on top of the Java virtual machine. All Kotlin code is compiled into Java bytecode. Kotlin wasn't the first language to do this either. There's also Scala and Groovy, which you might have heard of. But what makes Kotlin so interesting is that the interoperability between Java and Kotlin was one of the main focal points in the design of the language. So with Kotlin and its seamless interoperability with Java, you can leverage the entire Java ecosystem from all 30 years of its history and leverage that in your applications. That's a great strength of Kotlin, but it's also one of the main reasons I hear why it's important to learn Java before learning Kotlin. Say, for instance, you're working on a program in Kotlin and you're using some Java libraries. If you're going to be writing any Android apps, then you're definitely going to be using some Java libraries. Say, for instance, you find a bug in the code, something is going wrong, and you trace it back to some Java code in the Android library, and you want to actually understand what's going on. If you have no knowledge of Java, then this is going to be a problem. So I would say that learning either Kotlin or Java while totally ignoring the other is a really bad idea. Java's got a huge history and a giant ecosystem, so you're probably going to run into Java code at some point in your developer career. Kotlin adoption is on the rise, and a lot of developers really like developing in Kotlin. It has a lot of developer ergonomics and other features that Java just doesn't have. Something that's also under development in the Kotlin ecosystem is something called Kotlin Native. What that is it basically skips the Java bytecode and the interoperability and compiles a binary that's native to the platform that you're targeting. With that, you wouldn't have to worry about any of the Java libraries or anything like that because you're actually compiling something that's specific for a specific CPU architecture. The idea with that is that you could share common Kotlin code between platforms. For instance, you could write some code that could be shared between the Android and iOS versions of an app, and they can be compiled to their separate targets. So what I would recommend if you don't know Java or Kotlin and are wondering which one to pick, to start by learning Kotlin, becoming familiar with the language, and then also learning Java as needed. So whenever you run into an issue where you have to dig around in a Java library, do some Googling, some research on that, and make sure you understand what's going on the Java side of things. And also it's really interesting to actually learn Java after you've learned Kotlin so you can understand some of the design decisions behind the Kotlin language. Because Kotlin and Java both are designed to compile to bytecode, there's a lot of design decisions that went into the Kotlin language that you can see because of this restriction that it had to be executed and interoperable with Java. So that's my recommendation, but honestly, just learn whatever interests you the most, whatever you're the most excited about learning. And yeah, have fun.